Happy Thanksgiving to everybody who is listening, watching. Happy frickin' Thanksgiving. Anthony, holy crap, dude. We've been talking back and forth for a couple hours. It's Thanksgiving Day for everybody who's tuning in, maybe watching at a different time. I am currently in my dad's basement. I was just telling Anthony I had to take just a ton of antacids. I'm in Michigan. I'm in Metro Detroit, so I'm in like the heart of Lions country. I'm wearing a Michigan State.
I was gonna say you got Sparty on.
I know, but it was green, so I had to wear green. Everybody else is wearing blue around here. Holy crap, dude! Happy freaking Thanksgiving, man. How are you?
I am good, dude. We were right before we started, and I wanted to I wanted to ask you this. Yeah. I've never had a team play on Thanksgiving. How nerve-wracking is it that your team is playing on Thanksgiving? And then when you do get a win, how much better does it make Thanksgiving, especially in today's scenario where you're in this country and you got a big dub?
Yeah. Let me tell you, being a Packers fan in Detroit is a special kind of hell, and I know they're a long-suffering fan base, so I want to give them their credit. They're a good fan base. They're loyal. But man, they really chirp even when they've got a 3-point lead. Those suckers are chirping, So to be able to get a win in that scenario, being in Detroit, it's good because the Packers are the hated team here. The Lions have been getting their noses punched by the Packers for as long as I've been alive, and they've gotten good. And I was telling a friend here in Detroit, credit to Dan Campbell, that beating the Lions feels like a big deal, so credit to them. And I want to start off by that. Credit to them. I don't like them, but they're a good franchise now. They've turned things around. So long story short, the turkey tastes better. The cranberries a little sweeter. I told you I'm hopped up on coffee. I've just been chugging since that game. I've been anxious. I was pacing around the house. It's been a fun time.
I know how I get on game days, and man, like I couldn't imagine. My mom would have me. She'd be going crazy if it was a Browns game day for me, and it was supposed to be Thanksgiving. But dude, that was as good of a performance as, that was everything, right? We've seen it in spurts this all year long with this Packers team, where it's like, hey, defense shows up and the offense doesn't, or the offense shows up and the defense has a tough day, or both of them have tough days, or whatever it may be. That felt like, all right, they kind of put it together, and it certainly wasn't perfect, and there's stuff to absolutely improve upon, but man, that's why you trade for Micah Parsons. That's Jordan Love showing up in the biggest moments. That's guys filling in for Tucker Kraft in big scenarios. That's Dontayvion Wicks having the biggest catch of the game and becoming, taking that next step up. I mean, everywhere you looked, Josh Jacobs, didn't even mention him. Josh Jacobs having a big game, really controlling the tempo. And everywhere you looked at, the Packers were in control of that game from jump street, from start to finish, and they got a second straight massive NFC North win.
And wonderful transition there. Let's talk about this stretch of games. So for those who follow along with us, we decided to kind of do a 2-for-1 here, just with the Sunday and then the Thursday of Thanksgiving. And this has been just a vital stretch. I came into this week here with the game against Vikings on Sunday, and then with the game at Detroit on Thanksgiving. I came into this stretch thinking this season for the Packers will be determined by how they play in these next two games. And like you said, it wasn't perfect, but I've no longer been looking for perfect. I've come to accept this is not some juggernaut team, but do they have the talent on both sides of the ball? We've talked about that every week. They've got the talent on both sides of the ball, and they just need to stop shooting themselves in the foot like they have. But they've made the right plays against the Vikings, against the Lions now. Just to backtrack a little bit, that Vikings performance now, maybe JJ McCarthy sucks really bad, but still a 23-6 victory over a divisional opponent. You can't just toss that aside and say, oh, well, the quarterback sucks. And we talked about this before we head into this stretch. Winning divisional football, that's a man's game. It's different and when you're playing in division.
It's absolutely different. And, those wins count as like 1.5, probably 2, with those teams that you're getting in. And the Packers had this 3-game stretch where they go Vikings, Lions, Bears. You just hit the AF or the NFC North, boom, 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 right in a row. And it could have been, if it went south for them, it puts them really on the outside looking in behind the 8 ball. But if it goes well for them, which it is right now, you leapfrog into first place and you wash everything out that happened earlier in the year, and you're back to being one of the, spoken about as one of the top teams in the entire NFC. And that's what we talked about, man. Like, you think about this game and you look at some of those major situations, and you can't help but think that, hey, if this game was being played in September, or this game was, in early October, maybe they don't get it on 4th down, and maybe they turn it back over to the Lions, and that thing goes into overtime, and maybe they find a way to lose that football game, or maybe Jordan throws a dumb pick, like that we've seen him do several times, and instead you could see like that. We've talked about it. Some of those lumps that they've taken, like you hope that they could grow from them, and they have. And today was like the perfect example of that, because if they ran away with this one, we'd be celebrating. But because it was a hard-fought, back-and-forth game, NFC North game against one of the top NFC teams in the league, and you found a way to win, that like tells me that, yeah, you've gotten better from some of those times you stubbed your toe in the past. And that part's encouraging to see.
Yeah, it is encouraging. And again, credit to Detroit. It's always been a tough place to play, even when the Lions sucked. I mean, those fans come out and they cheer for their team. And
you ever been to Ford Field? Ford Field?
Multiple times, man. It's a chamber of horrors. If you're an opposing fan, they really get after your team.
Yeah.
So
it always looks like it's a riot too, man.
Yeah.
Like, and those guys, like you said at the top, it's not the best fan base or best team in all of football, but they show up. Sundays mean something. Thanksgiving Day means something to them.
Yep.
And it's always fun to watch those guys.
And for years, all they had seemingly was Thanksgiving. So this meant a lot to the Lions. It meant a lot to their fan base, and to go in there and to play as cool and calm and collected as they did as a unit. I've had concerns about, can Matt LaFleur, get this team between the ears?
Yeah.
And to me, he answered a lot of questions today.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. And really, you look at the couple 4th downs that they got in the game, right? Dobbs with the touchdown on 4th down, and like that was the Dobbs touchdown was so Matt LaFleur. Like that was everything you want in Matt LaFleur, because it was perfectly schemed. And you get in those. I'm going to nerd out here for just a moment, because you get into those those low red situations, what they call it, right inside the 5-yard line. Really, they bump it out to like the 7. They call 7 and in low red, and you get into those situations, and you can get super specific from a play caller perspective on what you want to do, right? You can get into those stacks, those bunches. You can get into motions and say, hey, Romeo and Christian, we're gonna twist release this one and get to the flat. But the reason you do that is because you know exactly how these teams are going to cover, right? You know that, hey, they knew that once they got into a stack that the Lions were going to go with a banjo coverage, is what I used to call it, where it was the banjo. If you think, imagine hitting like a drum, right? First one in, that guy's covering the first guy that goes out, and the other guy's covering the first guy that goes in. Well, when those two guys stack and then they switch release like this, that screwed everything up, because it took their rules and flipped them on their head. And then Dobbs just went right to the corner on a guy who was covering him from an inside leverage. That dude had no chance. And like, that is like a perfectly schemed up play. And when you do that shows like, oh, that's Matt LaFleur, the play caller, right? That's everything. That's like, oh, that's that guy. And then the rest of the stuff was everything everyone's been questioning. Can he motivate? Can he keep the team in it? Can this team be locked in on Thanksgiving Day? All of those questions get answered with a win like this today, man. It was impressive stuff.
Yeah. I guess so. The one good thing about the team that plays up to its opponents and down to its opponents is when you've got good opponents, you show up and you play football.
Yeah, so. That's another good point, man. I know that's I texted you. I think this is like the thought that comes to my mind is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? Where it's like, what are you going to get every Sunday? You get this team on every Sunday. Good luck trying to beat them. Like this is top tier NFC team, the one that played football today.
That's who we've thought they can be this whole season, and we haven't seen it. I believe, and I want to hear your take on this. We're going to topic number 2 here, and just to pull back the curtain, I told Anthony before this that we're not really going to talk about much. I'm just going to hit him with my thoughts, and we'll kind of see what he thinks. I believe that we can point to the maturation of the quarterback as a reason that we've seen a maturation of this team over the past couple of weeks. And if you look at what Jordan Love has done against the NFC North, but especially these past 2 weeks, he didn't throw any touchdowns against the Vikings, but he didn't have to. That wasn't part of their game plan. He still finished 14 of 21 passing, didn't turn over the ball. That's really all you're looking for in that type of game. Now, against the Lions, they had a little bit of boat race on their hands, and he did everything that you could ask for out of a franchise quarterback. 18 of 30 passing, 234 yards. So it's not like he's out there, prime Matt Stafford throwing for 500 yards or something like that, but he still finishes with 4 touchdowns, passer rating of 124.2. I mean, to me, he's not played poorly whatsoever, despite not putting out these huge numbers. And what I'm seeing is a quarterback who's really taken control of this offense, and he's running it at a high level. To the point, I'd say he's the Packers MVP, if not Micah Parsons. But he's absolutely, in my opinion, in contention amongst the top quarterbacks in the league to be an MVP candidate.
Yeah, I have a hard time disagreeing with all of that. Now, when talking about the league MVP, I think that there's like I don't think he's quite there, right? There's too much. Like you go in those little spells, right, where the not good shows up. There's too much of that to be the NFL MVP. But that is not to say that what he's doing right now is playing quarterback at that's that top tier level where, hey, maybe the numbers aren't amazing, right? Last week just does his job and gets a win. This week doesn't throw for a ton of yards, 234, but has 4 touchdowns, right? And doesn't turn the football over. We were waiting I was waiting all day, Andrew. I was waiting all day for that dodo play, the dummy play where he's like, and because that's the only way that the Packers were going to lose. Like it got into that track meet mode and you're like, all right, if Jordan screws up, this game's back on, right? And he just never did. And he's doing everything he needs. I think saying he's the MVP of this Packers team is absolutely the case, right? They go as he goes, and he's playing at a very, very high level. I wouldn't say like you give me him or Matt Stafford, I'm taking Matt Stafford 10 out of 10 times. Okay. But that's not to say like that's who you want to be in the conversation with, right? If you're in the conversation with, hey, do you want him or Davis Mills right now, like that, you don't want to be in that conversation. I'd rather be talking about him compared to Matt Stafford. So not quite NFL MVP for me, but certainly playing at a very high level.
I want to point out what you just mentioned to me is the crux of the maturation, that we've seen from Love is he hasn't thrown an interception in 4 straight games now, and he's thrown just 1 interception over the past 7 games. So, the beginning of the season, we talked a lot about, wow, this guy, he makes a throw. You're like, this kid is the best quarterback in football, and then 2 series later, he's making a throw that would make JJ McCarthy look good, and just to pile on the Vikings a little bit. But then. We haven't really seen that over these past couple of weeks. And to me, I don't know if that's just him understanding and I'd love to hear what you think about this. Shout out John Carroll, former quarterback of the John Carroll Carolers or whatever the hell they're called.
Well, I'll give you a pass, Blue Streaks, but yeah, that's fine. No reason to know.
The John Carroll Carolers. To be fair, there was no mascot or football team at Specs Howard School of Media Arts or Mortician School. So,
Well, yeah. Here's a trivia question, and then I'll answer your question. There's a helmet right above me, Dayton Flyers. There's a major NFL personality that went to UD. Do you know who that is?
NFL personality, huh?
I would say former coach, now personality.
Gruden?
John Gruden. Knock on wood if you're with me. Former Dayton Flyer, played with my dad. That's my dad's old.
No way.
You didn't want to catch Dave Meglin across the middle. He'd tear your ass up. Much tougher than I ever was. I played quarterback. He played middle linebacker, and he made you feel it. But anyway, it is the maturation thing that you talk about where he had to go through some of those early season woes, man, and like that's just kind of like part of playing quarterback. And we get the NFL, and I fall into this trap, you fall into this trap, everybody falls in this trap. NFL so week to week, right? Where they lose a game, you're like season's falling down. They win a game, best team ever type deal. But look at it, man. We're in deep late November. That Browns game feels like lifetimes ago, right? The current iteration of the Green Bay Packers would beat that iteration of the Green Bay Packers by 300 points, right? Where it's like you're still trying to figure it out, and they were still working together. Micah was still finding his spot. Jordan was still trying to figure out, hey, this offense evolving. What am I supposed to do? Am I trying to? This is a great point too. Like, am I trying to carry the load and be, hey, prime Aaron Rodgers, where he was throwing it he was doing everything for the Packers, or do I just have to find my spot in this offense? Like, you have to go through all that stuff in a long football season, and you look back, and when you put it together, you put together 4 straight wins, or whatever the number is. It's more than that, but you put together a nice stretch of football, and you look at your record, you're 8-3-1, and you feel damn good about where you're at because you got 2 against the Bears coming up who you're chasing, and if you take care of those games, you're in good shape, and it's like, that's kind of the path you take in these NFL seasons, and the Packers are on a good one.
Really good point. What I think is interesting when you look at this Packers season is that you can say that personnel-wise they've gotten worse, and that's because they lost Tucker Kraft, who we knew or we hailed as a one of the top tight ends in the league. They lost a gentleman named Elton Jenkins, who was their starting center and an All-Pro left guard for a while. So. And this is the NFL, right? People get injured. The Lions just saw that losing St. Brown, and they've lost Laporta. You can go to every team and say they've lost this player, this player, this player. The key, I think, to winning in the NFL over the long haul of the season is you have to have players who step up. And I'd like to talk about a player who I believe has really stepped up for these Packers and talk offense for a little bit before we get to the defense, and that's Christian Watson, former second-round pick. You've brought it up a couple times. Our very first interaction with Christian Watson was watching him drop that deep touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers. So he's come a long way since then. I believe he's become the Packers' top wide receiver. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of him, and also just as a quarterback, what is having a guy like that where you could just say, I'm chucking it down there to Watson and see if he can come up with it. Love to hear.
Yeah, having a guy like that changes a lot of things, because that's like your break glass in case of emergency guy who is like, all right, it's covered up, or maybe I'm getting a rush or whatever it is, and you get it away towards number 9, you at least know he's going to come up and try to make a play. The most impressive part about Watson for me is that he was such a body catcher earlier in his career, right? Where that ball needed to get to his body, and he needed to do it with 2 hands. The one today that he had on the sidelines where he toe tapped it, and it was I got to find my camera. It was such a hands catch. Like, he went and grabbed it and snagged it and looked like CeeDee Lamb, looked like these guys who go out and just get the football. And like, oh yeah, that's a guy who's starting to grow in his role. And dude, you can see it on the field, Andrew. He's oozing with confidence, right? That's not it. When you start putting good football together, you are just like, you can see it, like it's in his body language. And like, talk about how tough this is for him too, where he tears his ACL last year and has such high hopes and is trying to figure out this way with Jordan Love. And then he comes out and he starts having a really good season. You're like, yeah, man, that's awesome. And making big plays. I couldn't be more impressed by him. And he is solidifying himself as, a top guy, the top guy for the Green Bay Packers.
We've talked about this before, but it's worth just mentioning again. 6'4", 208 pounds. He ran he was so fast when he was in the combine, and he hasn't lost any speed. Weirdly enough, even with the ACL, with all the leg injuries, he's not lost a tick of speed, and that's a credit to him. Everything we heard this offseason heading into the season was that he was rehabbing like a monster, so credit to him, because I can imagine it'd be easy as a young man, just the way that his career started off, where it had the ups and downs and the injuries, and he's just come back and made a name for himself over these past couple games here, coming back from injury. And you can tell, that there's a connection between him and Love. And even if it's just that I'm chucking it up to see if he can make a play, that's made a big difference for this Packers offense.
Yeah, it really has. And you look at the receiver room as a whole, and you finally get that guy who is the number one guy, because this is really, and this is not a disrespectful thing, but this is a collection of like really good, right? This is a whole group that's really good. And you got 4 or 5 guys that you feel comfortable throwing the football to, but you don't have the 3rd and 8 guy where I know we have to have a guy out there, right? For the Chiefs, it's Travis Kelce, or it used to be Travis Kelce. For the Rams, it's Puka Nacua. For the Eagles, it's Devontae Smith, right? The Packers don't really have that. They just have a bunch of good players. It was probably Tucker Kraft before he got hurt, but now you're like, hey, Christian, there's a spot that came open because of Tucker Kraft getting injured. You need to fill it. Like, that's kind of that maturation and that next step. And he's taking it, man. And it's impressive. It's necessary. It's impressive. And I feel you just feel really good for the young man taking advantage of an opportunity in front of him.
Yep. Real quick before we get to the defense, because the defense deserves a good chunk of our time here. What do you think about Dontayvion Wicks? Because I feel like with the loss of Tucker Kraft, you needed a second guy who can go out there and catch the ball. He's always been kind of a possession receiver, but he runs great routes. He gets open, and I think against the Lions today, he showed that he could maybe fill that role of being somebody that Love looks to that's not Christian Watson, and maybe become that wide receiver 2-ish alongside of Romeo Doubs. Love to hear your thoughts on him.
Dude, Wicks, 6 for 94. What was most impressive for me is his 6 catches were on 7 targets. Like, that is high level efficiency. That is exactly what you want. That means he's getting open and Jordan's accurate when throwing to him. So that tells me he's confident in what he's seeing and he's making big catches. I think back to there's 2 big catches for me. I think it was Wicks. They ran like a sail cut. Tom Brady talked about it at length. I believe it was 3rd and 9, and it was the one that Jordan just kind of crow hopped into and threw a fastball, and it was Wicks, and it was a huge completion, right? Because it was early in the game, and the Lions were still in it, trying to fight a little bit, and it was 3rd and 8. There you go, boom. We're going to Wicks. That's a confidence builder, and then obviously the last play of the game, man. That's big. That's big guts. That is big stones type of a play, man. Like, to go out there and make that type of a catch with the guy draped all over you on 4th down with the ball's at midfield, right? You're giving Jared Goff 50 yards to have to go to go tie the football game. That is a play that you circle, and they're going to show that tomorrow in film, the very first one. They're going to circle that thing, and they're going to be like, hey, that's the play of the game right there. Special stuff out of him today.
Yeah, and it wasn't just any player. It was Brian Branch, who's a heck of a safety, and very aggressive, and we saw him knock out a couple of balls in that game against the Lions. So, I'm excited to see if Wicks can even be half of the player that he was against the Lions for the rest of the games coming up. I like the idea of Jordan Love having another guy that he can trust and go to. And that's not even talking about Romeo Doubs, who has shown, at times that he can be a guy. He had 3 touchdowns in a game earlier this season. So we've talked a lot of offense, but really the star of the show for the Packers is this defense. You look at what they did against the Vikings, 6 points given up total. They held Justin Jefferson to 4 receptions and 50-something yards. Just even with what we think is a pretty bad quarterback in McCarthy, to hold Justin Jefferson touchdownless and keep him out of the end zone, to keep him under 70 yards, that's a big deal. And then you look at what the Packers did against Detroit on Thanksgiving. The Lions have a good offense. They're going to put up points even without St. Brown. Jameson Williams went off, and he's a damn good player. So you kind of expect those kind of things to happen. But Jahmyr Gibbs looked like an all-world, maybe the best running back ever against the Giants, and they shut him down. He could not get going. Micah Parsons had 2.5 sacks. He was all over Jared Goff. What do you see from this Packers defense, especially these last 2 weeks here?
Yeah, I think you explained it perfectly. Last week, they do what you have to do against a quarterback who's struggling, and they just took him out of the game, suffocated him, choked him out, all the things, man. They looked really good. Today was special because in these games against these elite offenses, you're not going to stop them, okay? But in the high leverage moments, in the big situations, your biggest players have to make plays. And they insert Micah Parsons, insert the rest of this defense, man. Like there are some big time plays on those last couple drives where sacks got Detroit off of their off of their mark and behind the sticks. And I think back to even, forcing them to kick that field goal right before, on that second to last drive of the, or I guess before the fourth down drive, like force him to kick a field goal instead of getting a touchdown. Massive, because that changes how they have to operate on that on their final drive, man. So like step up in those big moments, turn 7-point opportunities into 3-point opportunities, and rely on some big plays towards the end. And just impressive, man. This defense is playing at a high level, and like that's what you trade for Micah Parsons for, and do all that stuff to get a performance like they've had these past couple games.
Yeah, just really, and better than I do what an elite pass rusher looks like, because you've watched Myles Garrett for a while now, and I'm just now getting used to an elite pass rusher, and I will. Hello.
There you go.
I don't know what happened. I got lost.
That's right. So, okay. Hey, if that happens, all right. So we're still recording right now, which is fine. You can trim this out or however you want to handle it. But up in the top, I guess it would be right corner. Okay. So the top, it'd be up here. There's a pause, but you should see a pause button. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. That will hit that button.
Before we go any further, I remember a clip from, I believe it was Bill O'Reilly. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but he's cussing up a storm, and he's saying like, F it, we'll do it live. And it always reminds me of live television, live radio, live podcasts. There's always going to be something happen. So
it's the good stuff, especially we're obviously both having road games right now. We're not in our home environment. Stuff happens. Yeah. It happens to real teams. Happens to us too. All right, we're people too. Podcasters are people too.
It's like the the Iowa Hawkeyes paint their away locker room pink. That's kind of what it feels like right now. So, okay, let's get back to pass rushers. Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett. You've seen elite pass rushing. Yeah. Should we just continue expecting this from Parsons, because it's been incredible to watch?
Yeah, he's unbelievable, and you saw it today, and we talk about it all week or all the time, right? These with pass rushers, everyone falls in love with the sack number, because that's the sexy thing, right? That's the big shiny thing you can point at and be like, oh yeah, he's got all the sacks in the world. But sometimes those are tough to come by. But when you're going to long season and towards that, where it's elite pass rushers, they take that next step. And honestly, Andrew, you can, in my opinion, start to expect to see that he will start having games like this, because hey, it's winning time. It's time to get to it's playoff time. It's coming around the corner, right? That's when these elite guys take that step up. You're seeing it from him. Today was special stuff from him, especially in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what he looks like as we continue on for the rest of the season. Like you said, the great players, as the game goes on, as the season goes on, they just get better, and we saw that with Aaron Rodgers for years, and now we have a similar type caliber player in Micah Parsons. So that's exciting to watch. I want to finish things out.
He must like dream when he's got Jared Goff on the other side, just like must sleep like a baby the night before, because Goff like doesn't move well. And dude, the one sack he had that he caught Goff on the blind side, like whew, he crushed him, dude. That was a big hit.
Yeah, that was If you remember back in the day, they had jacked up on NFL Live or whatever.
Yeah.
That would have wound up on "You got jacked up."
The good old days when football was football.
Football was football. All right, we promised this to our listeners and watchers last week when we got together. Thanksgiving, man. Let's talk Thanksgiving, okay?
Yeah.
I know you had some questions and some hot topics, and I think it's time we get into it.
All right. So I have thoughts. What rank your let's just talk about your Thanksgiving as a family. Do we do turkey? Do we do ham? What's your favorite dish? Do you mash your whole plate together? Do you eat stuff separately? How does it happen at the Kula household on Thanksgiving Day? This is important stuff.
This is important stuff. So it depends on if I'm with my wife's family or if I'm with my family. If I'm with my family in Michigan, my mom's, my dad's. But I'll tell you, my mom made ham. My dad made turkey. So I got both, okay?
Nice.
And I'm a big mixer. No matter what I'm eating, I'm always mixing. And I think Thanksgiving, you have a wonderful opportunity to mix your mashed potatoes, your turkey, your stuff, and put it all together, And the gravy kind of coagulates around everything. And that's what makes Thanksgiving, in my opinion, is just putting that all together.
The base of my plate is mashed potatoes, and then we just throw all the fixings on top of it. We start with turkey. That's the first. That's like the concrete is the mashed potatoes. Then the studs are the turkey, and then I go with stuffing. I go cream of corn. I stay away from the gravy, but that's just personal opinion. But I'll throw some green beans on there. And we just mix it all together, brother. It's just we mix it all together. And we eat it with a spoon. As we record this, I'm 2 plates in, 1.5 naps in, and like so much football has been consumed already today. Didn't get the turkey bowl in this morning. Were you ever a turkey bowl guy?
No, never. We just weren't the type, not the type.
It's that the turkey bowl in Canton, Ohio. This is the first year it hasn't happened, and we're very nervous about the future of the turkey bowl. Went for a jog this morning. I try to do a little bit of exercise before I sit on my ass all day and just eat food. But I saw a bunch of turkey bowl games going on, and I was pretty jealous, man. I was pretty jealous, dude. There's something about waking up turkey bowl, then stuffing your face all day. I mean, there's something about that's special stuff about Thanksgiving.
It should not surprise me that you're the type to do like a 5K turkey trot type situation.
Well, okay. All right. So I used to do the 5K, the turkey trot thing, not so much anymore because football does take place of that. But today I did go for a jog. So I can't really combat that because you're right. Yeah, you are right. I am that guy.
Yeah. All right. In my world, stuffing. That's number one.
Okay. Yeah.
And you gotta have the sausage stuffing. There's some folks who make it without sausage, but you gotta have the sausage. And I don't care if it's Italian sausage, breakfast sausage, doesn't matter. Just put freaking meat in that stuffing. And then from there, I don't really care. Stuffing's my favorite,
Yeah.
And I'll take the rest.
We are the same guy because there's 2 bowls of stuffing on our Thanksgiving table. Everybody likes the stuffing with the sausage in it, and my mom likes the stuffing without sausage in it. So because of that, there's 2 bowls of stuffing on the table. Excuse me, which makes a lot of sense. Everybody gets what they like, but I am, excuse me, as you can tell, I have eaten a bunch. I'm getting the hiccups here. Yeah, stuffing is 1-1. And then for me, I got the cream of corn. I could drink that pretty much.
Oh, cream of corn, huh? Okay.
Brother, so good. And then the rest of it, second might as well be or third might as well be 10th. Right. It all kind of just goes together, and it's all good. But the most important, what's the dessert menu for you? What do you go with for dessert?
So right now we've got, and I haven't eaten, but I know everybody's eating upstairs as we're doing this. So there's some pecan pie, and that's good stuff. Now my wife, shout out to my wife. She'll never watch this, so we can really say whatever we want to. But she,
Miss K. There we go, Mrs. K.
She made her and my oldest daughter made like a pumpkin spice cake, and I'm really excited to try that. Maybe with some ice cream, and we'll see how that goes. So as soon as we're off here, I'm gonna go make bad decisions with dessert.
All right, I'm gonna say one thing and then let you go eat because you're hungry. My mom brings the house down with a apple crisp that Good.
Yeah.
Bury me with it, dude. It's that good. It's warm. Put ice cream on the bottom, or you put ice cream on the bottom or the top of it, and I drown it in whipped cream. Come on. You just take me to heaven right there.
Yeah. What a fun time to be alive.
Thanksgiving is my favorite. Thanksgiving, bar none, is the best holiday for me. You just are only required to say thank you to people, tell people that you appreciate them, eat a bunch of food, and spend time with family. You don't have to buy gifts. You don't have to go here or there or whatever. You just be comfortable with your family. It is my favorite. So with that, thank you, everybody, for who watch us and who interact with us over on Roundtable Talk.
We are thankful. We're building something I think that's special, and we couldn't do it without the folks who are tuning in here at the early going of everything. So, Anthony, go enjoy some more food, man. And the best part about Thanksgiving is you can sit around and watch football all day and nobody can say anything. And
can't say a word.
Yep.
Can't say a word. Nobody can point fingers at me. Boss isn't calling. Nobody's mad. Everyone's just chilling, napping, drinking maybe a little bit, watching a lot of football, and just taking it all in. Big AFC North battle tonight now. Big AFC North battle tonight. Big one.
We'll talk about that next week. Appreciate you, man. I am thankful for you. And again, everybody watching and listening, thank you guys so much, and we will talk to you later.